Money, money, money.
Morning LPI.
Greetings, salutations, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I just talked over Brendan because we're doing it a Wait, were you talking?
No.
Oh my god.
Confirmed Rapid is hearing voices in his head.
I wasn't even rude. Oh my god. We're going to have to do it better next time.
You're just so polite that you're apologizing for something that didn't even happen.
But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is our final best of 5 series of the night. It's going to be between the newly spliced TY. I feel like that's what happened to his genes ahead of time. But he's going to be facing off against this guy. It's Ryung, a TVT specialist, but unfortunately not having the strongest start to the second stage, the SSL Challenge.
This TVP is kind of, you know, mediocre. Not bad. Definitely not amazing either. And fell to a Protoss player last week, but now he's going up against a Terran player, and this is where his true power is going to shine. And he's got 2 games against 2 of the other Terrans that are left here in the second stage of SSL Challenge. So this is a big match for him to pick up. He definitely needs to win this one, potentially one against Deer, to have a good chance to make it through to the fast lane.
That's where everybody wants to get, man. Our PopCap Gym Rainer. Okay.
They have all the coolest toys.
Indeed they do. And here's his opponent, TY. Of course, newly joining Splice. We'll see him in one of those sexy yellow jerseys any second now. But for tonight, he just looks like he's about to fall asleep.
Someone's going to run into the studio, hand him a jersey during the game.
You didn't wear your jersey today. All right, here we go. I'm sure Marty is like writing an email right now. It's like, oh, excuse me, TY, if we sponsor you, have to write. No, it's not like that. But they are pretty cool. So if they wanted to, you know, like send me one, that'd be pretty cool too. Just saying. All right, Whirlwind, Frost, Newkirk Precinct, Daybreak, Belshire, Vestige. I feel like I'm doing like a Poke Rap, but instead of, you know, Pokemon, it's
just listing all the maps.
Somewhere.
Whirlwind, Frost, Newkirk Precinct, Daybreak, Belshire, Vestige.
Dude. Okay, so so Tempo, here's your next song. You get every name of every StarCraft 2 map and make like a StarCraft 2 map.
That would actually be pretty sick.
It's the map rap.
Because he would be smart enough to actually mix it in a way that sounds cool.
Be basically good at it. No, you know, there's that book and movie Born to Run. My autobiography is not Born to Rap. That's just not a thing that's happening. But perhaps casting StarCraft is a close second, Brendan.
Well, enjoying it so far. It's working out, it seems. But, yeah.
It's been a good night, guys. So I hope you guys have been enjoying it along with us. If you have any questions, comments, or possibly even concerns, you can direct them at either the SPOTV_games_ENG Twitter account.
EN.
Oh, is it just EN?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
I caught you this time.
I messed up this time. So yes, the Twitter account for all of your suggestions or comments is SPOTV_games_EN on Twitter. If you let us know, we'll make sure to hear all of your suggestions and give them a close look over. Or possibly, if you just have comments for Brendan or I, you can go onto the same social media site, Twitter, and follow us or tweet at us at RapidCasting and at Brendan Valdez to let us know your predictions for our final map of the night. It's Ryung taking on TY. It's on our final map, final series of the night. It's going to be a best of 5. I cannot wait to get this underway.
It's going to be fantastic. Get out there, as I said in the beginning of the last series, get out there, tell your friends, they need to watch this. It's on YouTube, you know, all the other excuses, yada, yada, yada. Get them in here, get them watching. It's going to be pretty awesome. And here we go, jumping into game number 1 on Whirlwind. A very big match to start this TVT with.
And away we go. The Red Terran player starting the upper right-hand side. He is TES Gaming Ryung.
And his opponent, newly joining Splice. It is TY, the blue Terran in the blue seat, with very interested ref there on the left side.
I keep telling you, man, we need to get yellow seats out here. That way we can have truly team-coordinated colors. Maybe also green seats, because I think we use that color sometimes too. But yeah, red versus blue and in appropriately coordinated seating. And it looks like it's going to be a command center for TY and Ryung. Mirrored build so far.
Looks like they came down at the exact same moment.
Now, Brendan, this is not technically a mirrored build because Whirlwind is a radially symmetric map.
Oh.
And that means that it is...
is it rapid?
Were it to be mirrored, it would not be a one-to-one reflection.
Okay.
It is, I believe, onto, though, because they just have the same number of names. Somebody out there in Algebra class gets that, but only they will laugh at my jokes. All right, so identical builds up until now.
You know what you said about, casting. There's going to be some guy out there doing some crazy random thing for all the amounts of time that you spent casting StarCraft. Yeah. There was one guy in the chat that got your joke, Rapid.
Somewhere in the, over eons of time, when infinity people have watched the VOD of this show, one person will eventually...
Yeah, he's going to tweet at you in 2037 when you've moved on to being a coach of the new team for StarCraft 4.
I got a reply to a tweet that I made in 2009.
What?
Yeah, somebody replied to me currently. It was like, by the way, the answer to this question is this. I'm like, how is this a thing that exists?
How did you find this? I thought I deleted this tweet.
The Reddit detectives, man, they can find anything. All right, so our SCV scouting here for TY. Finally, we'll see the somewhat unnecessary bunker. Okay, I'm not sure why that was needed to be abandoned on site. It's like, no, we gotta run away.
He's like, will I build the bunker or no? Now he has no idea.
I think maybe he just saw it on the minimap and thought it was a Reaper, maybe. So
probably
better to run it away. And there is his defensive Reaper. Not gonna see any shenaniganry quite just yet. Although it is kind of interesting to note the second Reaper, kind of a stylistic choice here from Ryung, just to make sure that, if in fact there are shenanigans coming up, or if it's just a one-on-one Reaper battle, he can turn it into a two-on-one.
Yeah, and of course this is with zero scouting information of TY, outside of, maybe assuming where he is, but as I say that, the Reaper's going the wrong way. So actually he has no idea of anything that TY is doing, or where he's spawned, so.
Did you assume his start location?
But yeah, I mean, he's going for this build. It's safe. He's going to throw down a early third command center, where actually TY is getting it even earlier. So very heavy macro builds for both of these guys.
Earlier than the earliest. So you were talking about TY's TVP, which is the thing that we've most recently seen. Yeah, earlier on. The only TVT I've seen recently from TY was versus Bunny in his GSL series. It did not look good, so not something that we can really compare necessarily to this one. And I feel like even though when I was looking online, most of the community votes were kind of cheering for TY in this matchup, Ryung always classically touted as being this TVT mastermind. And I really can't emphasize that enough, because it's one of the most magical things that I've seen in StarCraft 2. And even though everything can be analyzed down to the most tiny minutia, I just honestly have never seen somebody who can pull more out in a such a narrow matchup than Ryung does in TVT.
Yeah, it's really a beauty to watch, especially if you just get one impression of Ryung, like you watch one of his TVP games, you're like, oh, he's a pretty good player. He's nothing amazing.
Yeah, and
then you're getting the wrong impression. You got to watch his TVT, then you're like, oh, I understand why people are like raving about this guy.
You follow that up with a statement, but he couldn't beat insert player name here if you're like a sick fanboy, and then he goes and beats that player. So definitely capable of beating just about anyone. But it's a very interesting situation we find ourselves in here. Double engineering bay for both players. We're gonna see sick upgrades this game, but also the first two Vikings coming out here from Ryung. This is a very interesting way to start this matchup.
You can see getting that starport early and using it, whereas I believe TY got a Raven. It's kind of just sitting back at home. As so far, I mean, this has been an extremely passive game. We've essentially been sitting here for 6 minutes while these guys macro up. Only now are they committing to a couple of scans to get a better idea of what kind of composition their enemies are going for.
TY with the slightly faster upgrades, but or Ryung rather with slightly faster upgrades. TY opting for a little bit more on the ground. And going for this Raven play, this can actually be really interesting, because as long as you keep your Ravens with your Marines, the Vikings aren't as much of a threat. If you just send them out, obviously Vikings will eventually kill the Ravens, but if you keep them with the army, these auto turrets are just so insane. when comboed with something. I mean, usually you see them just drop for harassment. When you use them with the army, they're just incredibly effective.
Yeah, definitely true. And you can see that TY was ahead in supply there, but it does even up for now, actually exactly even. None of these guys really getting supply blocked. We talked a lot about, you know, how Ryung is great in TVT, but we didn't really talk about why. I feel like he's always very aggressive. He's always out on the map, especially on a big map like this. I feel like he's really great with his positioning, always in the right place at the right time, very rarely gets caught off guard. Very often in TVT you see Marine tank versus Marine tank with some added, you know, medevacs, but a lot of Vikings and Ravens for air control too, to gain vision for your tanks. And I feel like Ryung always has his stuff in the right place. He's also very good at counterattacking. It's like all the stuff that you need to be good at in TVT, he is great at. Whereas TVT is more of just, or TY rather, is more of just a straight up solid player. You know, great multitasking, fantastic macro.
Yeah, indeed he is. So finally our first little bits of interaction between these two players, seeing just those scout, what do you call them? Smattering. There we go.
That's one way to say it for sure.
Smatterings is what's left of Marines when they die. That guy just got smattered, man.
Ooh, look at this.
Okay, all right. Well, we talked earlier about decision making, and one of the things that makes Ryung such a good Terran player is his decision making. His decision to say, look, it's time, we're going for it. Blocking that turret with a Viking so that the entirety of his army can load up into 4 dropships and make it all the way into the main.
Look at the position of all of his tanks. He's going to take out the turret ring, and some Seeker missiles actually going to hit the tank. Okay.
I feel like you just dropped 2 auto turrets, and that's probably more damage, but the Seeker missiles.
It's like the sure way to take out the tank, I suppose.
Why do you not use the Seeker missiles on the clump of 3 tanks, though? Like, okay.
I don't know. The turrets are better for when you're going to attack with the Marines there. But look at this, a nice counterattack here from TY. Ryung has units nearby, but these Marines can do so much damage very, very fast. Going to try to target down this orbital, and down it will go.
DD will. Now there's so many juicy SCVs, he just has to go down there and kill them. Instead he's not, and will lift up himself 4 medevacs and drop them in the main.
Great position here from TY. Really just abusing Ryung, trying to...
Oh man, he can get all these juicy upgrades. Oh my god, he's got more Marines. Even though these SCVs will be pulled, there's just not enough here for Ryung.
I think TY might have done it with this one drop. This is getting way too much value here. He kills a 3rd orbital. Not able to take out the engineering base, unfortunately, but 22 SCVs too. Meanwhile, the drop in the main from Ryung, it's just stood here. You know, he got a bit of damage earlier on, but then he just kind of stagnated in the base, and TY is still mining in there.
Yeah.
It's not like he's taking out upgrades or production or anything. He's just been sitting here, and maybe that's the multitasking coming into play here for TY. Ryung seemingly not able to keep up.
Yeah, this is where we get our troll fingers out and do some troll math. About the number of units and the amount of resources. 1 too many lots. This is going to be many units versus lots of units, and I think we all know who comes out on top there. So yeah, trying to set up these big siege lines there. It's better for TY, or better for Ryung as he starts to come down here, counterattacking. Is this going to be the value he needs? It looks good.
See, Ryung was really far behind after that attack from TY, but one mistake from TY gets Ryung back in the game. Now Ryung has a huge amount of pressure with a perfect siege line and great positioning on his Marines. He doesn't have a 3rd base, mind you, so he does have to do a lot of damage, but that he is. He comes on in here, forces a lift, and so many SCVs are going down here, and TY has no response.
Just completely evens it up. I mean, on the other side of the map, TY's taking down reactors. I'm like, okay, or not reactors, but
depots.
Yeah, depots, refineries. I think that's what I was going for. But here's Ryung just setting up in such an insanely good location. Now these are all empty medevacs by TY. And I think he's gonna try to like fake drop them, or possibly like go back to his base and elevate it. I don't know, but this is a great spot for Ryung to be in.
Yep, totally cutting off any mining from the 3rd, makes it 2 base to 2 base, and Ryung has a bigger army at this point.
All right, so Ryung actually splitting off to make sure that there is no additional base being built at the 3rd base location, but TY is actually starting one at the 4th, and I don't think that's being scouted.
Yep. he's going to be able to get that down, and a lot of SCVs actually are over there mining. Look at the read from Ryung to come over here, but at the same time, TY, he does have medevacs in this army, so he will easily win this fight. Not enough pulled over there for Ryung to stop that army.
Concave versus convex, man. How's your arc looking?
Also, medevacs versus no medevacs.
Yes, Brandon, that is correct. Thank you. I was about to wait. All right, so again, TY, now it's his turn. The pendulum swinging in his direction, and looks like there's a hammer swinging as well right on top of Ryung. So much damage being done, but here comes another huge drop from Ryung and TY's main.
Yeah, this time he's going for the production, a much more aggressive Doom drop here. Unfortunately, stimming into some tanks of TY, and not quite able to take out all too much. Gonna unsiege his tanks, and TY looks like he's gone for the throat. He has been successful in killing this Terran player.
Yeah, I certainly think there's no way that Ryung can come back from this one. He tries again and fails. Splices through Terran player TY, taking game number 1. Ryung definitely looked strong. Good recovery from losing all those workers early on, but in the end, TY takes it.
Yeah, just that was looking scary for both players at lots of times in that game, but really the turning point, as I always like to point out, is when Ryung, he had a great read, but he didn't expect that many units. Like, I think it was like 5 or 6 medevacs worth that TY had going over to the right side, and Ryung's like, I'm going to read this. I'm going to snipe the medevacs out of the sky. But also very smartly from TY to drop out all the units instead of just flying them over in the medevacs. And he kind of read Ryung's read of his move. And essentially, you know, we call TVT like 4D chess at times, and TY won the battle this time.
You've got a pretty great read too, Brendan.
It took me a while to get that one. I'm like, what does he mean? Like, am I good at reading, or what is he talking about?
This is why I like casting with you, Brendan.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for our first game in this series, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a sick day so far, and it's just going to get even more ill as we get into game number 2, Ryung versus TY. Our games are festering as we speak. All right, Ryung dropping that first match. Good decision-making there, but TY's was just better.
Reed, your casting is infectious tonight, I have to say.
Okay, well, I think our viewers are going and getting some inoculations right now.
Yeah, they're gonna fall asleep from this one, I have to say. Too much sickness in one cast.
Our red Terran player in the red chair, TES Gaming's Ryung.
And his opponent, it's TY from Splice in the blue. We're going into another 4-player map on Frost. Looking to play 2 macro-heavy big maps to start this off.
And you're going to put the shoe, as they say, Brendan, on the other side of the map. Because our players are trading spawn locations. So we'll get a chance to see exactly how they may have affected our first game. Now, obviously, this is a different map. We've got some big... what do you call those, oddly shaped holes there between each one of our bases.
Yeah,
so
true.
That's the difference between the maps.
There's lots of holes on this map, whereas on the last map there was a lot of grass.
Indeed, verdant pastures as they are.
And now there's just frost.
Actually, you know, for a map called Frost, there's an abundance of greenery in the middle of the map. In fact, if you just look at the map, you're like, wow, that's actually a very green map. This is like Greenland and Iceland.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Maybe it's summer on the map of Frost. You know, you think about like places like northern Canada. Is there snow on the ground all the time?
I'm pretty sure there's snow just about everywhere in Canada all the time, right?
I think you might be right. Well, not the southern parts of it. You know, where the people live.
Where the people live.
Yeah.
When Earth itself is literally trying to kill you, I think that's a message, you know, that should be heeded.
Whoa, that SCV, he had a little bit too much to drink. Just going crazy there for a second.
He is just like Marines on stim. He's all jacked up and ready to go. Just like cars when you change tires.
Ryung, the masochistic Terran, trying to trap his SCV there for as long as possible.
I mean, in Brood War, that was actually a good strategy because it let you, you know, stack your units. And in fact, in Wings of Liberty, you could do that too. You could have Viking flowers, things like that. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to have fun in this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so thankful that that is not a thing anymore. Oh!
That was cool.
That was my golf clap. Sickest trap there set up. I've never seen that actually work so well before, but good on ya. And that will take out the Reaper without any damage being done.
He may have seen the buildings trading places there. By the way, I think Ryung went for a barracks into gas, whereas TY went for gas first. So slight differentiation in the build, slight differences, I should say. But we do have the Hellions coming across here. 2 Marines, or rather 2 Reapers, 2 Hellions versus 3 Marines and 1 Hellion. Another Hellion, or rather Marine, is joining on up.
Ryung will win this fight, guys, and that means that, I mean, this might be too much. Okay, he's going to be able to repair this Cyclone. Cyclone's pretty much the ultimate defensive unit, along with, like, you know, siege tanks and stuff. Ryung scrapes it off and makes his way away.
I like the choice for Ryung to not stay with his Hellions and try to do damage to the SCVs. Because, you know, maybe you get a couple of SCVs, but you lose those units that you just used to win the trade. And essentially, is it worth it in the end? Better to just save the units and take the good trade and go home with that instead of getting greedy. Also, we couldn't really get a read from the observer as to how red those Hellions were, so if they were really red, of course you want to run those away.
Nothing quite as red as red reads.
Red reads?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What is a red read?
It's a red player reading the read of his not red. Okay, I'm trying to do a little bit too much there. I'm not as good as multitasking.
You tried.
As these guys are.
You got to take risks sometimes. You win for it. Sometimes it doesn't work out.
You should have seen my my brother's bookcase at home growing up. It was full of those You Tried runner-up trophies.
Damn.
Those are almost worse than just getting no trophy at all.
Yeah.
It's like
you got 16th place in this tournament. Congratulations.
Did a thing.
Yeah. You played a sport. Good on you for exercising.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay. All right. So finally, a little bit of a deviation. Command center coming up for Ryung. Whereas instead, TY is just powering ahead.
Yeah, looking to do something on 2 bases here. Making an abundance of tanks so far, a very defensive position. Will get those engineering bays up to get those upgrades here. It looks like just +1 for now. Ryung at this time is going for a bit of an attack, a follow-up from what he had before, but a bunker set up here from TY.
Yeah, and he's going to go forward. Lots of Cyclone damage there. Will destroy that bunker. Tank on the high ground shouldn't be alive for much longer, especially with some auto turrets being dropped up there. Instead, it actually does survive. Wow. Okay, I was wrong. That tank's immortal. And doing a great job of doing what tanks do best, and that is tanking. And dealing a lot of damage, oh, by the way.
Ryung, he had a bit of a timing there, you know. He had the double Raven with a lot of energy built up, but it was just too good tank placement there from TY, and I feel like Ryung was too slow to identify that. So he pushed a little bit too far and lost the trade. Meanwhile, he had a 3rd orbital coming up at his base, whereas TY is not doing that at all. He's adding 2 more barracks. He wants to go for kind of a crushing blow once these infantry upgrades come up, and because Ryung threw away a lot of his units, I think that's not a bad idea. But Ryung, maybe I would have preferred to see him get the 3rd base ahead of TY, maybe try to scout with some drops and poke around, see what's going on, instead of going for that full frontal attack.
Now, one thing that sets Ryung apart from a lot of Terran players, especially in TVT, is that he goes for an incredibly heavy Marine component to his army. Now, I mean, Marines are common in any TVT and indeed to all Terran matchups, but he just builds an insane number of Marines, and I think he is maybe 2 barracks up. Oh my God! Now we have.
Looks like TY's Marine was built first.
Okay, somebody
remember when we learned that?
Somebody told me that that's not actually true. Somebody else tweeted at me and said the Marine that wins the 1v1 is randomly decided because Marines are not there's not actually like an exactly constant fire rate. Sometimes it's like a little bit more or less.
Yeah, if you look at the fight again, if you want to go back in the replay and scout the 1v1 fight between the Marines, you can definitely see that.
I think we need somebody to like tweet at us and tell us the definitive, okay, this is right. But hold on, here we go. A big doom drop from TY right behind Ryung's mineral lines.
This is a lot of units. He lost one medevac very early on, though. The 14 SCVs go down. He's doing a ton of damage. The landed Vikings, though, might be able to take out those tanks. Well, looks like the answer is no, actually.
The bonus damage to armor could actually be very effective, but instead, it'll just capitalize on the unsieged nature of that tank location. I think TY's tank will actually survive longer. But he's streaming across the map with a little bit of a parade push here, and there's not a lot on the ground for Ryung.
Yeah, TY coming in here, and I really like the follow-up, making the 2 barracks before the 3rd command center. He wanted to really punish Ryung for his bad decision that he made earlier on, and lots and lots of damage coming in here, trying to gain control of the high ground and punish this 3rd base.
Wow, Ryung's losing a lot of Marines just carelessly trying to make it up that ramp. We'll eventually be able to do that and clear out that siege tank, but it's taking him a while, and all the while, TY continuing to rally units across the map.
This drop, I thought it was going to be the 1, but it wasn't.
No.
It was the 2. 2nd place drop.
You ever seen
will never amount to anything.
Ever seen that sick Jet Li movie, The One?
No, actually.
Oh my God, I think it's his best movie, but it's just so utterly, unabashedly badass. The end of the movie is very much like what we see here. Just,
no spoilers.
Units being fed into a slaughter machine.
Spoilers, Rabbit.
That's not a spoiler. Spoiler alert, Jet Li's a badass. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
You ruined the movie for us. Oh,
okay,
boy.
Whoa, TY. Oh, the hot pickup for an even hotter, I don't know what you call the opposite
Pursuit.
pickup. Crash. That's what it did.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's like the Pokemon move Pursuit. TY, he tries to run away, but actually takes damage, loses his units. Either way, TY, he got a good lead, but I feel like he almost overstayed his welcome and wasn't looking at the appropriate time, lost a big chunk of his units, so we're pretty evened up. It looks like TY has got 15 more Marines currently, though.
Which is somewhat surprising, considering that Ryung invested more into that bioproducing infrastructure. But yes, way back, though is going to have a slight advantage here on the Marine upgrades, much farther ahead on that +1, or +2 rather, and armor slightly ahead of TY's as well. So there is a timing here when all these upgrades complete, where Ryung could definitely roll TY over, but I mean, it's going to be up to him to hang on that long.
See TY very active on the map, trying to remove as much scouting information as possible. Looks like there's just one censored tower at the natural of Ryung, and he's kind of keeping his units in between. He's got some spotter units on the right side of the map at the same time. Scan will spot TY's army, but very much on the defensive right now is Ryung. He's actually building up a pretty sick bank there for quite a while. Macro failing for just a moment.
Yeah, this is a bank of TY. I don't have my my money there, but if I did, I think
he's making a lot of money today.
He is investing his money very well, so I suppose I should.
You should reconsider your options.
Reconsider, yeah. All right, well, here comes some of our first upgrades about to finish. I think the biggest one, has been the +2 complete there for Ryung. So his Marines are very, very strong right now. I mean, I think this would be a great opportunity if he does have that upgrade advantage. But
looks like he wants to take the fight.
Indeed, he does. Recognizing that upgrade disparity, not able to shove it home, but will secure his corner of the map. And oh, I love this. He's checking for any additional bases that might be in crazy locations. Also, just avoiding the site.
Yeah.
Why?
Looks like there's one supply depot up there, so that will spot this. But that's gonna put a lot of, you know, it will strike fear into the heart of TY. Because, you know, just 2 medevacs worth of Marines could go over to that third base, go up on the high ground, and take out 10 SCVs before you're even looking. So just the threat of it will force TY to reposition some of his units. You can see Ryung slowly but surely taking map control at this point in time as he moves out to take his 4th base. Both these players have gone up to 4 bases. Looks like TY was able to take it first.
And this is pretty spectacular. Okay, TY making it a little bit less spectacular, just mowing down Ryung's Marines. Tanks will siege. Push TY back.
Leading the Marines of Ryung a little bit too far away from his own tanks. So not a bad trade here for TY overall. And he's certainly forced this into a straight-up fight at the 4th bases here. And TY has the advantageous position. Even Liberators looking to get position. Not exactly sure who has the better Air Force at this point in time. Ryung trying to go for a drop in the main as I speak.
Okay, well, Ryung does have more Vikings, so he'll win the air army, but can he hold to the ground as well? Siege in the main, but his Marines are getting picked off. He's not microing them. The tank's going to take them all out.
Oh, the repair on the starport keeps it alive.
Insane control. Wow. TY with a siege up here. Is he in range? Yes, he is, and Ryung's going to lose his tanks. Okay, wow, they're both going to lose. Wait, no, okay.
Yeah, it looks like Ryung actually won that trade.
Work?
Well, TY had a couple of his tanks too close together. Better position for Ryung.
Okay, all right. I just missed a shot, I guess. Okay, well, Ryung holds on for now. TY doing a good job cleaning up the drop at the same time, so equal advantages on both sides, I guess you could say. Another starport coming up for TY. I want to see that transition into BCs, man.
This would be the game. If there was a map for either of these players to do it on, this would be the game. I highly doubt it, but let's see. As Ryung moves on in to try to take the battle, TY wants to bait him into the tank line. Again, TVT, very much so a matchup of positioning and push and pull on the map. You can see Ryung trying to force it as his 3-3 finishes, whereas TY, his +3 armor was very late.
No, you can see there 3 SCVs from Ryung with his tanks. I think with equal upgrades, it'll actually take 3 shots. So if you repair just a little bit and you're behind on upgrades, it'll still take the 3 shots and you won't have that disadvantage. Could be. Either way, the siege lines are starting to form, and that means that, well, you're going to need some way to break them. And, I mean, one way to do that is with battle cruisers. You can also, okay, wow, 3 more barracks being produced. I think Ryung's opportunity might just be to mow him over.
He's going to have an insane amount of production. Love this move, making use of this gigantic map, trying to come on over here and snipe an orbital. A little bit slow to the draw, and a big repair coming on in. Some forces of TY going over there to try to save it. Looks like he will, just barely. All the while, these 2 players multitasking, trying to gain a foothold in the middle of the map.
Yeah, just trying to expand. I think at this point, you're really just going to see the map get completely cut in half. And it's going to start to be that resource war. I mean, okay, so that drop kills 10 SCVs. Like, oh no, so scary. We're still going to mine out both sides of the map. But really cool to see these Marine bombs all over the tanks, just trying to get that value.
Yeah, definitely a cool move there. Just 7 Marines and a medevac, able to take out 2 tanks.
Now, you know, you'd think that a large map like Frost or Whirlwind or any of our bigger maps in the map pool would be prone to having these split map kind of situations, but we really don't see that many like super late game, 45-minute slugfests on huge maps like this. We've had a couple over the course of SSL Challenge, but
oh boy. Ryung actually letting all of his Vikings die when he was behind on Vikings. The tanks weren't close enough from TY to cover the Vikings, so if he just stimmed his Marines forward, but I suppose Ryung did not have the vision there to notice that, so just losing 4 Vikings for free, and TY takes the massive air lead. He's producing Liberators behind this, so that's always the scary moment in a TVT. If you can get air control and then go into... That's really close. He's gonna... Oh.
Wow.
One more shot would have done it. But if you get air control and begin to make Liberators, that's the beginning of the end, and it's going to be very hard for your opponent to deal with that if he doesn't have an air force of his own.
Okay, well, this is where we get to kind of sit back, relax, and you know, watch the game transpire. This is where if we were playing, what was it called? Forces of Galaxy of War. All right, well, stimming forward, Ryung gonna put all of his Marines to use, trying to move his tanks forward there as well. Looks like TY did have a deep enough line to take those forces out. So TY defends successfully.
That was Ryung's patented move. He always likes to go for the surround on the tank line. And Frost is a gigantic map. You have so many opportunities to do this. And you can see he wanted to clear the watchtower, the northern one, first before he tried to go for a move like that.
Yeah.
Saw it coming, and I think TY did too. So he had a more, you know, a back line of tanks to deal with a wraparound like that. And so he holds it off successfully. Both these guys pretty even still.
Still think that air lead for TY is just going to become more and more significant, more valuable. Drop coming in here from TY, not going to be... Okay, well, it might actually be pretty effective. Does unsiege the tank. The mass repair will ensure that it stays alive long enough to be able to take everything out there. But look at these liberators just going to town, forcing Ryung either to unsiege or back off.
Well, they're liberating Ryung right now. And here we go. Ryung trying to go for the surround once again. He gets all the tanks in the back line. What a move.
He is going to stim forward, taking out, like you said, every single tank. But in the meantime, TY is going in for a harassment on the 4th.
He's done so much economic damage to Ryung right now. 30 SCVs go down. At the same time, I feel like Ryung's standing army is stronger, as you guys can actually see up in the top left at the unit tab. But he's trying to keep Ryung back and not allow him to attack. He wants to continue harassing here and take out more SCVs.
Yeah, but it's about where your army is. And I think the position here, oh man, there is a big planetary here. Lots of repair being done, a pickup, an evacuation. TY gets out.
Ryung here on 22 SCVs. Not much of an economy right now, and he's not maxed out. He's actually currently barely even mining minerals. So his current standing army, yes, is stronger than TY's right now, but Frost is a very big map. He has to get over there and attack right at this moment in time, and he doesn't have all of the specific numbers just like we do to know just how far ahead he is.
Here comes TY back again, gonna drop up on the high ground, on the low ground, on every ground. TY just trying to gain some against Ryung there. Ryung stimming forward there as well. Only one tank here will be taken out. Both players just trying to harass each other's bases.
Big repair here from TY. Good trade from Ryung, but at the same time, he's barely mining. His only mining base currently is the third base, rather fourth base, but he wants to take the fight.
Gonna go ahead, stim forward, take out every single one of TY's tanks there, running for the hills, and Ryung not stopping now, stimming forward, gonna go ahead, focus the base, lots of SCVs there as well. Ryung actually also dropping on the high ground just to make sure that nothing else is there. He could continue forward and kill off those SCVs, and I think he might actually be able to take them all out. In the meantime, TY's drop harass gonna get completely cleaned up.
What an interesting game. I feel like something like this could only happen on Frost, a map this big where TY has done so much damage to the economy, and even though Ryung's army is much bigger, he's still holding on because, you know, all of his bases are so spread out. He's buying himself enough time to actually catch up because he still has an economy.
I thought you were going to say nothing like this could ever happen anywhere other than SSL Challenge.
Well, that's definitely true. The best StarCraft 2 league in Korea
these
currently.
games are just insane. Like, we've seen some of the weirdest stuff I've ever seen here, so definitely a good experience. Now, TY pushing forward. Ryung gets the earlier siege up. Looks like that will devastate TY's tank forces.
Yeah, interesting move by him there. It looks like he just didn't have the scouting information to know exactly where Ryung's army was. All the tanks of TY look like they're on the right side of the map. And he's kept some units on the left side near that planetary base, so Ryung essentially can't commit to it unless he wants to send his entire army. And TY always threatening to go for the counterattack. So a very interesting position that we're on in this game.
Let me take this moment to remind you, Brandon, this is game number 2?
Yep, this is game 2.
Of a possible 5-game series, but here comes Ryung going for his patented flanking techniques.
Oh, the escape! The escape!
The hottest of pickups, man. Really like this by TY. He'll notice that instead of going for late sieges on his tanks, where they probably will all just die, he'll just pick up and run away.
Yeah, very true. And now I feel like Ryung is making the right choice. He knows that TY has a bunch of units on the left side of the map, and he sees the standing army on the right side of the map, so he just wants to go for the throat. Going in towards that third base will take that out. TY will have a nice position up here towards the top of this cliff. But really his main mining base is over there on the left side, and Ryung still has no answer there. And as time has gone on, TY now has the larger army supply. Actually, and that's because of his economy finally catching up here.
Okay, TY still trying to figure out how to take down that base for Ryung. Ryung, in the meantime, I think looking more for game-winning moves.
The Liberator siege up. He forces the unsiege there, unfortunately not able to pick off a tank.
Trading shattered marine bodies little by little. Okay, that's not going to be
look at the positions here. Ryung's on the left side of the map. TY, he may want to go for a surround, but he's definitely pushing Ryung's army towards that left side and continuously forcing siege ups, and now he's kind of put a stick in the middle to split this army. See what he can do with it.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Ryung to move in on this. TY, rather, with great positioning there, and even more forces from TY coming in for a great flank.
Yeah, that was the defensive force that was over at that top left side base. And here we go. I mean, he's fighting against smaller armies of Ryung. That planetary is definitely going to help out Ryung, but look at the tank line here of TY. Very nicely set up. He's going to just unsiege only 3 tanks and slowly move them forward.
Oh my God! All right, this is a very, very tactical kind of game. I feel like games like this would not necessarily be as possible in the previous iteration Brood War, just because it's so difficult to move like both giant mech balls and giant bio balls all at the same time. But here in StarCraft 2, you can kind of have a much broader idea, different unit compositions, way more units being hotkeyed, moved around, and it's just kind of interesting to see which which strategies develop because of that. And here, it's been these insane flanks that Ryung has been able to pull off. TY driving a stake, like you said, right through the heart of Ryung's army. And now both players just trying to clean up these last bastions of forces remaining on the map.
Look at the play now. Ryung, he's finally decided to commit to taking out the top left mining base of TY. Gets those 5 tanks into position. TY, it looks like he wants to fight here, but at the same time, a little bit of hesitation. Looks like he'll give up the base and go for the attack here against Ryung.
All right, he's gonna do it. That is a lot of units left in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 medevacs. Holy cow, Brennan. All right, and yeah, this base is just completely done for.
Toast, as they say.
Whoa, yeah. Hear this. This is not the Alamo.
Is that enough Liberators to take out 1 tank? I think it is.
I think it's enough Liberators to take out a command center, Brendan. That's a lot. Somehow they find out how to fire downwards at buildings.
Very important base to take out, one of Ryung's only mining bases. And the third is barely mining. I wish we could get a look at that. It's right north. It's right there. Just go up. No. You guys can see the mini-map. It really doesn't have many minerals there. And the army now is much bigger for TY.
Mini minerals, not many minerals.
I see. I actually like that. Mini minerals.
All right. Well, there is a flank opportunity for Ryung, but he has to make sure that he doesn't give away. Oh wow. Give away his position.
Oh boy.
Either does take out both of those Liberators, so that's actually really good. And you can see Ryung just trying to make the best out of having sickest Liberator shot dodges.
I like what he's doing, but at the same time, it was a good bait from TY. He's like, if you want to take out this Liberator, you have to spend like 12 Marines. That's what happens. Now he's got this last mineral line siege as Ryung on his last legs with 7 SCVs.
I mean, he's going up against a player with 14, okay? Let's not get it twisted.
I guess the more important supply number is the army supply.
Yeah.
At this point in time.
Tain't no workers out there. So for Ryung, I think the biggest thing is going to be whether or not he can come and crush this planetary up here. He's going to try to do it with Siege, but in the meantime, TY trying to do the same thing. TY with a bigger army will be able to take that out more quickly, but at the same time, I mean, Ryung equally successful.
Yeah, essentially trading base for base here. Ryung is not out of this game. If these two armies fight straight up, TY wins 100%, right?
Yeah.
But
well, looks
Ryung
like
making it interesting.
We are going to see a base trade, but the problem is Ryung has no Vikings. So, I mean, Terran buildings float, and even if this is the best base trade Ryung's ever seen, he'll never be able to kill Ryung's TY's building.
And he has no real defense of the main, whereas TY, he's got something. He's going to slow down this push, as you can see. Even though this will eventually be cleaned up, Ryung has to pay units for it, whereas TY just runs up in here, burninating all the buildings as he goes.
All right, well, less Marines versus more Marines lose. And even though several of these buildings for TY will get taken out, there's no way that Ryung could find them and kill them.
Oh no. The command center into the 2 missile turrets.
Okay, I feel when you expand your opponent's mind out natural, I don't think that's quite how it works for Ryung.
He's going to check the 3rd. Wait, there's no minerals there either.
No.
And TY is finally coming back to eventually take out this army. And, well, we were touting Ryung as the big TVT master, but TY, he's making a big case for himself to be the true master here in the matchup as he takes game 2.
Yep, only a master of evil, Brendan, and of the Terran army. So that is going to do it for our second game in this series, and I really feel like a lot going on there, more than even I can recognize. I mean, maybe this would be the place where we get the players out of the booth, say, hey, can you explain your strategy for the last game? They're like, oh yeah, here's what I was doing. Then they go back and play, but they know each other's strategies, so it's like a much more dynamic game. I just heard myself through the audio twice, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that earlier, but kind of interesting.
That was a little bit surprising. But either way, yeah, great game. A lot going on there. I think the thing that most impressed me is that what we were talking about for Ryung and his positioning, all of his flanks, was something that TY outdid him in.
Yeah, he really did. And, I mean, keep in mind, TY earlier on in Legacy of the Void over in China, he took out Maru in a best-of-7 series. Now, Maru isn't this, like, TVT genius, but he was quite good in the matchup, and it did go to Game 7. And TY, he's been pretty good in TVT. I don't think it's like his main matchup. I think TVP and TVZ are quite strong for him, but making a big case for him to say, like, Ryung's TVT is good, but actually I'm just the stronger player, and that's what's going to prevail here in this series.
Well, TY was the stronger player in GSL when he did advance for his group. Kind of a similar situation, but he definitely had to face off against, I guess, slightly weaker opponents. I mean, he's going up against Ryung here, and while no one would ever tell you that Ryung is, a stronger Terran player overall, I mean, this is supposed to be his home field advantage. So, I mean, it's all on the ropes right now. Only one more game separates Ryung from having to go talk to our crazy Korean commentators.
They were zooming in onto that one guy's eyes. It looked like they were watering.
That's
the way that I feel, too. I was just keeping my eyes open the whole game, and the shining lights that are on us the entire time, burning out my corneas.
They don't turn the lights off. What you guys can't see is we just take our shirts off and tan during these games. Yeah, so there's only one more game remaining here. TY takes it. Otherwise, Ryung can keep this series going, keep his hopes alive. This is our final set of the night, guys. So let's go ahead and get in to game number 3. Spawning in the red, right under the Jin Air logo, as the Terran player, playing for Team. Okay, I forgot what that stood for. It's
Expert?
No. It's I thought it was Team Esports. That's what I said before.
That's what it looked like on the jersey. Not 100% sure. You said it before.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I said it earlier on.
I'm blanking
series,
on this one.
Unlucky. All right.
And TY from Splice.
True Esports.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
We did it.
Got it. Minor brain fart avoided. Well, not entirely, but here we go. Into a brand new game. So, a whole new world. I mean, not really a whole new one because we've been on Newkirk Precinct quite a bit, but at least for the series, going to be seeing finally our last, or our first, rather, non-4-player map. Now, unfortunately, this is a map that very frequently gets cut in half and all the minerals mined out of it. I think most of the time those happen in Zerg matchups, but at least for the time being, neither one of these players seem too hesitant to go into these super long macro games. So, I mean, I want to see the BC max out, but battlecruisers don't do too well against Marines. Now, I mean, this map affords many different places for you to put your battlecruisers where you don't have to worry about getting Marines stemmed underneath them. But still, probably a less popular avenue to take.
This is a map where we definitely see a lot of doom drops too, especially as 3rd and 4th bases get taken. Like if you're trying to defend your base to the north, you've got a bunch of units over there, your opponents can easily take advantage of that by doom dropping the main, as most of your army is going to be at either the 3rd base or the 4th base. And he can get right into your production very fast. As Wolf likes to call it, it's like the horseshoe effect, where you got to run all the way around into the natural and up into the main and past your buildings.
What was the map that he coined that on? It was the most popular map ever played.
Dusk Towers.
Dusk Towers, the original huge macro map.
Yeah.
Well,
2-player,
but
one.
Yeah. It's not Metalopolis. But yeah, man.
Deadwing was that crazy one. It was like,
it's still in GSL.
Okay, 30 minutes. Yeah. Well, we've seen Ryung try for these doom drops many a time. I feel like TY is almost, I don't want to say changed his style in the matchup. I feel like he's playing it a little bit slower against Ryung, if that makes any sense today. Maybe he's just really tired today. He's like, oh, I'm just going to play a more passive style.
It is almost 2 a.m. here in Korea, so it is very, very late. Battle will be unsuccessful. That's how you can tell neither one of them are Beyond.
True.
Beyond's Reaper just starts out with twice as much HP and carries a tank in his pocket.
Neither of these players super well known for their micro. I think they're much better at other stuff and more well known for other reasons.
What a Reaper, man. He just hops up the cliff, dies instantly, turns into a puff of smoke. I mean, I know we're all just dust in the wind, but that Reaper was extra fine dust.
Yeah, and he doesn't get to float up like on Abyssal Reef.
He's like the dust in
no
the air
Angel
here.
Reapers here on this map.
Nope.
Double Cyclone. Lots of safety here from Ryung. Looking for a potential drop from TY, and he's read the build very well.
Yep. I mean, if he's looking for it, he will in fact see it. Coming across the map, it is 1 Cyclone, 1 Hellion, and 2 Marines. Very diverse map.
What a smattering of different units there.
Indeed, Brendan. Correct, correct usage there. Sees it, turns away. There's a little bit of lag on the Cyclones.
Yeah.
Oh, I sense a disturbance.
He's actually playing from Brazil. That's what you guys don't know.
It's like I could swear he's just right over there in that booth, but perhaps that's his.
We sent him the background and the webcam. And
there was this old '90s superhero TV show called Nightman, and he was called Nightman because he had this like night Batman suit basically. So he moonlighted. His undercover job was as a saxophone player in a bar. And so whenever he had to go fight the forces of evil, he had this hologram that he would turn on stage to play saxophone music. And then he would turn on a boombox that had saxophone music playing. And then he would go fight evil. And he had to make it back to the bar before all of that ran out, before everything closed. Yeah. But that's how you fight the forces of evil. And I feel like that's kind of what would be required there. Oh, so sick.
Well, there you go.
Okay, well, either way, here we go. TY finally making a bigger push across the map, although seems as if he does not want to quite commit to it. And TY's always seemed like a little bit ahead in this, at least head-to-head. Ideally, you'd expect Ryung to eventually prevail, but such has not been the case. This time, Ryung does have the Viking, so you'll be able to push that back. I'm like, TY, there are other avenues to attack through. It's like, no, I just have to fly my units into his base.
Yeah, and as you were saying, there's a tiny advantage, I guess, for TY as he took, very small, good trades for himself. He's taking more very small, good trades for himself in the middle of the map, but you could see a bit of a divergence in the builds as TY going for what looks like some more other tech as Ryung gets ahead in the infantry upgrades very soon. But TY actually adding 2 more barracks in total, so he's going to go up to 5 on just 2 bases, whereas it looks like Ryung is only on 3, from what I can tell from the mini-map here.
You are correct.
So he's the one that wants to go for 3 bases, the earlier 3rd command center, whereas TY really powering up on just 2 bases.
Yeah, bunch of upgrades going to finish here any second, but a much slower stim, so TY won't be able to at least press that much of an advantage there. And I think that might have been one reason he didn't want to overextend too much, but oh, here comes Ryung.
Drive away.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
into the night.
You'll notice that Marines, like all good platoons of soldiers, do walk in the same step as each other. I think if you have them in the same control group, they all start walking at the same...
Makes sense.
Do they? I don't know. I'm going to have to watch that.
If you right-click, they all start the running animation at the exact same time.
But some of them glitch on each other, so you can see that there's always a couple of Marines that are just a little bit out of step. I don't know what causes that, but they need to get in line. Maybe they're just trying to cross bridges better. That's why you know, you always see Marines walk in the same like cadence until they stop or until they cross bridges. But because if you cross a bridge and your footsteps are all in the same line, then you can destabilize the bridge and create an oscillation that'll you know,
that's
knock
scary.
it over. Yeah, so today I learned. Here we go, stimming forward. Okay, neither player really committing totally to that.
You can see Ryung takes the more aggressive stance here, as TY actually starts at 3rd CC on the location, actually, whereas Ryung is a bit more passive with that, a little bit more safe with his positioning. These 3 Cyclones is going to be enough. He actually spots the drop here with 1 Marine, which is really key, so he does not get pulled apart. Good defense so far from TY.
You know, I would always expect Ryung to be the player that has the higher Marine count, but consistently every single game, TY always on top of that. But now, okay, Ryung producing 8 Marines at a time to TY's 6. So up those 2 racks, or 1 with a reactor. And at the same time, also a little bit of a different focus here. We saw Ryung taking an earlier command center, but TY has actually expanded further away and farther from... Further and farther. Same word.
I think there's a difference, actually.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Farther refers to specifically distance, whereas further can mean time, I think, or something else. I learned it at some point. I don't exactly know the full definition, but I know you're a wordsmith yourself, Rabbit.
Well, I think I actually just used that incorrectly there. So.
It's okay.
Someone's going to write me my hateful anti-grammar Nazi tweet. I can see it coming already. Okay, so players trying to split the map in half. TY doing his best to doggedly defend his half of it, and right now Ryung has a you know, relatively safe position way up there on the high ground. So, okay, didn't expect TY to run into that. So, I mean, this will be great, especially if you can maintain this over a long period of time, because then you lock down more than your fair share of minerals on the map, and that's kind of what both players will eventually be fighting for.
I like this small group of Cyclones over there at the 3rd base. Just defense only. I'm going to stop any run-bys for now, especially from that. Ryung potentially looking for the wraparound here.
But I feel like these Liberators are really going to give TY a huge edge, allowing him to really push back the majority of Ryung's forces. He'll finally siege up, but Ryung's Air Force is just meager.
Yeah. Really is. You can see TY continuously pushing him back with the Liberators, and actually the tanks unsieging here. TY getting more and more aggressive.
Another Liberator continuing to push forward. Marines come forward to push it back and run right into tank fire.
Glad you pointed out those Liberators, because Ryung has continuously had more and more trouble. You can see finally he's beginning to add a bit of an Air Force with the Vikings in the sky, as actually he takes the lead in the Air Force now. No Liberators to his name just yet, though. Always consistently somehow ahead in upgrades in every game.
I don't know how that happens. It always amazes me how, you know, you can see them start the first set of upgrades at exactly the same time. Then you check back and Ryung's already working on 3-3. Or I guess 3-2 right now, soon to be 3-3, whereas TY is just going to be behind in that respect. So, I mean, when there's more Marines on the ground, they're just going to be better for TY, or for Ryung. but currently it's been the Liberators, that majority of the Air Force, that has given TY his advantages. Now going in for a cheeky drop.
This is very slick by TY. You know, it may seem obvious if you're Ryung, you're like, okay, there's that one weak point. There is potential for him to drop all the way around the north side of the map because my sensor towers just don't cover that area. But definitely a big commitment here. And you can see TY kind of backs off. He doesn't want to take a fight while this is happening. And as I say that, Ryung going for a gigantic Doom drop into the main.
He's going for it. Finally will unload. Not a lot here to defend. Only one tank. It's going to survive for quite a while, but will eventually be taken out. And that's just going to be it. Ryung just can't handle it. And TY showing once again why it's not TV. Wait, what?
Ryung able to take that game.
Okay, wait, did I just say the wrong player?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. It happens.
I look at the screen and I read TY when it says Ryung. Okay.
It's okay.
Apparently I just can no longer read. That's the most surprising thing that's happened to me all night.
It's late,
Brendan.
as you said. It's almost 2 a.m.
Almost.
Yeah, this is a new kind of caster stamina that we're building here. And yeah, Ryung just, as I was saying, he's this guy. He loves to go for those Doom drops. And the one sensor tower on this map doesn't really seem to be enough. And that's really the danger when you give up the middle of the map on Newkirk Precinct, because it's saying my units have to be in the middle of the map if I want to defend my third and fourth bases. But where I'm weak is the Doom drop, because you can just get up onto that kind of base with the rocks and just drop right in, or not even. You could take your base from the rocks and boost in from there, and they can get into the main before you can react to your sensor tower seeing it. So,
you know, it's rare that we see players GG just that quickly. And I think one factor could be exactly how late we're getting. Like, if you spend all of your mental fortitude, your effort, your focus on taking out a drop that you know you're already going to come out behind from and is going to be very difficult, then you go into this next game and all of a sudden you're just exhausted, and you can really see maybe that's starting to set in. I mean, TY looks tired all the time, but maybe a little bit more so deep down inside.
It's okay. I mean, when you get that many tanks and Marines on top of your production, you kind of know you've been duped. You're like, okay, well, what am I going to do? He got me, essentially. And Ryung definitely got him in that game and takes a win for himself. He's looking to extend the series into more games as we enter Game 4.
Here we go, our Red Terran player in the upper right-hand corner. He is TES Esports. Ryung, I was thinking TES Esports. The ES stands for Esports. So Esports is baked right in. So I think it's TES Gaming. That's TY. He's on Splice. But when you think about TES Gaming, you're like, that's Team Esports Gaming. Do you esports game, Brendan?
True esports gaming, I guess. Is it?
It is.
True esports gaming? Might just be true esports.
Well, no, it's TES.
Yeah.
Gaming. But then it's, I don't know.
Well, I'm just not sure if the gaming is in there. If they would reach out to us on Twitter, that would be pretty cool.
Let me just check this out right now. If you guys have any questions or answers for us, you can feel free to hit us up on Twitter. TES, yeah, it's TES Esport is their Twitter account. So that's True Esports Esport. Okay, all right.
Well, there you go.
But
we figured it out, guys.
Their website is tesgaming.com. So gaming's, esports.
They've got it all. Everything.
If their name was
baked into one team.
If they were Team Esports Gaming, then they've just got all their bases covered right there. Unlike TY, who did not have all of his bases covered in Game 3.
That's like if you name a sports team like Team Sports Ball or something like that. You're like, yeah, you cover every sport, you know, we're not sure exactly which sport we play.
I myself am a big fan of sports ball.
Yes, me too.
Watched a really great game of AFL football from Australia last night. If you guys watched that too, you know exactly what I'm talking about, just how fantastic the officiating was. Either way, the game here tonight we're watching is StarCraft. And
there's one guy out there that watched that game.
It has been an absolutely insane, and I'm sure there are. Actually, that's one of the cool things around the globe. Like, there's somebody watching whose favorite game to watch is like a game played with a ball and a hoop and a stick somewhere like on the middle of Antarctica. He's out there with all the Yetis and stuff, but he still just loves his StarCraft. And he's watching this, and we can appeal to people around the world.
Shout out to that guy.
What a guy.
What a bro.
The guy in the chat.
What a pal. Here we go. The Reaper SCV aggression.
Well,
just a microaggression here, Rapid.
Oh my god, he actually almost killed that SCV. He's going to go for it. I think he has like 2 more hit points
Oh,
left.
he's going for it here.
SCV going to get a little bit of an extra bounce. He will get a 1-4-0 SCV kill. Oh, 1 more shot. There it goes. Reaper
Hellion coming in here.
Yeah.
Oh, but the Hellion pops out. Another Reaper will join.
Zoning grenade, and Ryung will back off for now. Always kind of cool to see how those early game trades go. And, you know, there are worlds in which it just snowballs so terribly out of control and you lose like 1 too many units and then you just never have more than your opponent. It rallies across into infinity.
Yeah, I feel like that was a bit of what Ryung was trying to do with the amount of Hellions that he is making.
Ooh, missed a Hellion fire. Hellions remind me a lot of like Brood War Dragoons, where you use that stop micro to have them fire, but sometimes they just don't fire because you miss the just tiniest of timings on that. But either way, it's going to be Cloaked Banshees as the follow-up here, so wildly different playstyle here by Ryung.
Ryung taking the hero approach. He's like, okay, you'll never expect this build now.
You'll never guess what builds these Terran players come up with next. Find out 12 easy reasons.
Other Terran players hate him.
Well, indeed they do. Such cannot be, can definitely be said about these players, but it's not because of 12 easy steps. That's for sure.
Look at TY saving up some energy.
Yeah, getting a Raven.
Sees
the Banshee, knows exactly what's coming.
Perfect positioning on the 1 Marine up to the top. That's just one of those small things that can win or lose you a game. Like, imagine if he's playing greedy and he doesn't have that Marine there, and then just a Cloak Banshee shows up at your natural and you had no idea. Difference between, you know, like a high Grandmaster and a pro.
Yeah. Viking is there, sees the shimmer.
On the chase. Decides to take a break.
Wonder if that means the Cyclone. Okay, never mind. Coming up, the Cyclone looking to push it back. Raven is there. He doesn't want to waste a scan on it.
Trying to go for the juke.
I wonder if he's going to reveal this command center. I don't think that.
Oh, the repair, nice.
Saw it, yeah.
I think he saw it.
A little bit of a golf clap. Yeah, it was close. Could have just been that really awkward positioning that doesn't let you see the one building that you need to. And okay, all right, 3rd command center already started here for TY. Going for the, or just now started for TY. Much faster for Ryung, who will have that just now completed. So cool. We see Ryung with a little bit of a higher tech, different approach, but he's still ahead where it counts in the macro.
Yeah, so we're gonna kind of back off here for now. You can see Ryung now adding 2 more barracks of his own, really trying to make the best of this tech that didn't really work out too much for him. I feel like he's killed more army units than SCVs at this point. I think it was 3 SCVs, but also like 3 Marines and a Hellion so far, so he's getting okay damage, but definitely wanted a bit more. Gonna get those 2 engineering bays up here in time. It looks like they're before TY's, unless TY just hasn't started his infantry upgrades just yet. Perhaps wants to spend more. Okay, actually, the 2 E-bays are quite late. So once again, Ryung will get ahead in the upgrade. So that's something going for him.
Yeah, I feel like even in the last game that he did wind up finally winning, maybe the upgrades helped, but it was really just the decision-making. And the positioning to say, okay, well, I just need to be here, and then your opponent instant GGs. So, always kind of cool about that. You know, each one of the mirror matches, and I have people tweeting me all the time saying, well, we don't really like watching mirror matches because it's both the same units. I'm like, well, yeah, but I mean, it's how you use the units, not the units themselves. I think there's a Mewtwo quote about that one. But the biggest thing, of course, is like you said, how does a 1-on-1 or how does a 2-on-1 wind up with an even trade?
I think TY's Cyclone fired first in this version of the movie.
So we know who shot first. Okay. I feel like I was saying something from an epic engagement.
You're talking about mirror matchups.
Yeah. Well, yeah, mirror matchups, how you use them, and you can really just see the impact of Ryung's kind of positional style there. Whereas, like, so ZVZ is just really, really narrow. If you have 1 more Baneling hit or 1 more Zergling on your concave, you're just going to smash him. And PvP is just like wild and wacky, and you can do whatever. Sometimes you have Sky Toss or mirrored builds or random stuff. But
Disruptor Stalker.
I think
cool
Terran more so than almost every other matchup is just about running around the map, out positioning, out flanking, and then just, you know, bopping him home to the Stone Age. Because so many times we'll either see like everything load up in dropships, or, you know, huge flanks with Marines to just devastate entire bases or armies.
Yeah. Another thing about TVT is timing. You could see right now Ryung coming in with 2 medevacs as TY moves out on the map, and TY did not commit to the push. So if TY had his units there for the push, maybe he does a ton of damage at the front door, but as it stands, he's late to the defense and also late to the attack, so now he has to awkwardly come back here and try to defend. Does a nice job of it, doesn't lose anything except a lot of mining time.
Doesn't lose anything?
Except for this ton of this really important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I like the way I like the way I worded that too.
All right. Well, pointing out the upgrades here, 2-2 immediately started for Ryung, just trying to keep himself on top of that, clear out any last bastions of forces out there on the map. TY really cool splitting on his little tiny Marine factions out there. 2 here, 1 there. A lot of information that will no longer be available because they dead.
Yeah, they did, sir. Well, we have this 4th CC coming out for TY. He's really taking the very passive, defensive, super macro-oriented style. I feel like Ryung being much more active on the map. I always really prefer this style when players like to play TVT. It looks like he's actually setting up for a potential Doom drop once again.
The anti-Doom drop where you boost in one direction and then turn immediately around. Yeah, but this is not going to be unscoutable.
And it's not a giant horseshoe on this map either.
Nope, very spread out in the bases. But both players going for very large, you know, rings of both turrets and sensor towers. So it's not going to be as big of a surprise as it would be on other maps. Scanning just to see the Jin Air logo. I'm like, who sponsors this? Scan. Oh, right, Jin Air. There you go.
And this is the SSL Challenge.
Oh.
The SSL Series 2017 Challenge Season 1, to be specific.
It actually doesn't say Stage 2 if you wanted to really see that, but here we go. TY finds an opening and will stim in and cause massive casualties in the 3rd.
Oh, that's pretty nice. 12 SCVs right there at the 3rd base. Gonna snip a little piece of that macro, that economy off. He's going for more, too. I feel like this is a little bit too much. Will lose everything here.
Yeah, it is going to get cleaned up there, but okay, finally all of those Marines get taken out, but not before lots of casualties were dealt. He did lose a little bit of army. He took out 12 SCVs, and he's exactly that number ahead.
Oh, interesting position here. Very far forward as the siege for TY, but all the auto turrets coming down and really help defend here as Ryung tries to punish this position. Doesn't look like it's going to be all that successful, but more and more units are stimming on in, trying to take out these tanks at the top side. It looks like eventually Ryung will be able to stop this command center from landing and take the low ground.
Oh man, Ryung really swinging the hammer here, using just a little bit of an overextension from TY to deal a lot of pain.
Yeah, very cool. Was looking a little bit dicey for Ryung, but he knew in his heart that it was the right move. I was a little bit slow to catch that one, but definitely a cool play. After all, you can see once again TY is committing to the Air Force, whereas Ryung has exactly 1 Viking.
And a Thor on the way here for Ryung, so that'll be a little bit interesting, while it's still simultaneously staying right on top of these Marine upgrades instantly. 3-3 on the way.
Yeah. This is one way to say, okay, I'm just not going to go air, but I want to take out your air units easily, like have this back line kind of guy that doesn't do a ton of damage to your air, but always pressures them away, pushes them away. So I like just the 1 Thor.
Yep. So TY going to go in for another drop on that 3rd base, sending it the very longest way around. But in the meantime, Ryung will actually pressure him in his own 3rd base, stimming forward. Lots of tanks there on the high ground. Many Marines there to support, and a couple of Ryung's Vikings actually catch TY's drop on the way.
Very aggressive moves here out of Ryung throughout this entire series. I feel like maybe this is the push that was just a little bit too much. He forces the lift, but he loses a big chunk of his army. And look at this giant force of Marines out on the map here for TY. He's going to easily shut down this 4th command center right before it's done building. Scans there to see if there's any defense at the 3rd. Looks like he just wants to play a passive from there. Still has that 4th CC alive, so he knows he's ahead in terms of the macro side of this game.
Yeah, TY going to keep his 4th base alive, and I think that might be just the littlest, tiniest of advantages that he needs in order to seal his series here. He did drop the last game, a little bit of a hiccup in the flawless train TY victory, but now going in for another big drop. Ships literally passing in the night, spaceships, as they fly right by each other. But the forces for Ryung not going to give TY just an easy base. Moving forward, I really want to see what force that Thor has here. Is it going to be perfectly able to push this army back? It looks like the answer is no. Built to counter out these Liberators, but I don't know if it's going to be working as intended. Massive forces from TY stimming forward, taking out the Thor.
Really cool move there. Notice that there were no Marines actually, and that the rest of Ryung's Marines just pushed a little bit too far forward, took them out, and then took out that very vulnerable back tank line. So TY with a huge move after getting that earlier advantage, looking to end the game.
I mean, congratulations, Ryung. You're going to have 3-3 for your Marines. You're just going to have 8 of them. So, you know, that's going to be it. GG TY doing his new team Splice proud and taking a 3-1 victory over Ryung to close out the map and show us why it's not TVT, it's TYT.
Yeah. Changing up the middle letter with his own. And, man, I mean, we were calling Ryung the TVT master. I felt like he had a pretty good chance, pretty good shot to win this series, but TY, he was really on point tonight. I feel like he outplayed Ryung at his own game. You know?
I re-hyped Ryung up for, I think, a couple of things. Positioning, and TY just seemed to outposition him a lot of times. And like you were mentioning, you were talking about timing, I guess, and it being very important. TY just always knowing exactly when to strike, coming in with those big flanks. Really impressive play.
Yeah, I love his defense, too, at many different places. You know, spreading out his Marines, seeing what he could see, making sure he didn't get caught off by any drops. And one thing we failed to mention, because there was a lot of action in that game, that last one, was TY was so ready for all of the Doom drops. The second he ever thought Ryung was going to go for a Doom drop, which we saw him actually preparing for a long time in that game, he always had units going into the main. He had the sensor tower ready, but this time he wasn't going to be caught off guard, and he made one mistake in this entire series, one big one, and it lost him the game, and that was in Game 3 when he got Doom dropped. He was caught off guard, didn't let it happen to him in Game 4, yep. And in all the other games, he really crushed Ryung.
Yeah, it's really cool to see TY. In the one game he did lose, he just instant GG, just like, all right, GG, go next. We'll take it the next time around. Let's go ahead and take a look at today's results. Classic with a 3-1 over Deer, and by far our best series of the night. Beyond with a narrow, heartbreaking loss to Hero.
Seems to happen to him a lot, unfortunately. Those super close series where he just barely loses.
What happens when you sell your soul to the esports devils? You get to win GSL and win WCS Global Championship, but then you're destined to lose every other game that matters heartbreakingly badly.
Well, wow. He did get out of his group in first at GSL, at least. So, got something going for him.
TY was able to take out Ryung 3-1 to end it up. And here are our standings after 2 days of Stage 2 of SSL Challenge. TY way up there on top, along with Hero in first place, 2-0.
Yep, Classic Beyond are at 1-1, and then Deer and Ryung are actually at 0-2, so having a bit of trouble, those guys. And next week for SSL Challenge will be Deer versus Ryung, Beyond versus TY, and Classic versus Hero. For me, I really like that Beyond versus TY matchup. TY showing that he is super good in TVT, or TYT, but Beyond, we'll see if he can rise to the challenge there.
I mean, it definitely is a challenge he will have to rise to. He has looked way better just in general, so we'll see how he can, if he can rebound from today's loss, bring it back next week. But there's more SSL Series 2017 coming up. It's SSL Premier on Monday, so just a couple of days from now, guys, with some sick matchups. And then if Brood War is your game, SSL Classic continues on Thursday with some absolutely amazing games.
Yep, 9 matchups in total from both of those days. Not going to mention them all to you guys. Definitely some really good games coming your way. So that about does it for our day today. It was a long day. We're here at 2:05 a.m. I looked at my watch and my brain didn't process it, and then I looked at you. I'm like,
I look at my watch. And
wait,
I'm like,
I don't know the time. I need to look again.
It's like 3 hairs to freckle. Oh my God. Yeah. So that's gonna do it for us tonight. Big thanks to everybody who showed up tonight. We do appreciate everybody that tunes in, and just because some people have a little bit of a harder time finding the stream, make sure to share it with your friends, post it everywhere, and get some people in here to watch some 6 StarCraft. If you have any additional feedback, make sure to hit Brendan and I up on Twitter at RapidCasting and at Brendan Valdez, and as always, make sure to keep watching lots of awesome StarCraft. We'll see you back here on Monday for SSL Premier. Thanks for watching.